Welcome to our video today, where I'm chatting to Melanie Simon, founder and creator of ZIIP Halo. Mel, hi. Thank you for joining me today. Do you want to give a quick introduction, a little bit about ZIIP and a bit about your background?
Well, I like to describe myself as an electrical esthetician. There really wasn't a good term for me because I focused entirely on electricity. And I collected many machines from around the world, and my treatment would be comprised entirely of building different electrical combinations to create specific outcomes. And that led to developing ZIIP because there really wasn't support for people at home. There were devices where you could get one waveform, but let's say you would come in and I'd work on you. I might use 20 waveforms on you. And then your twin sister could come in and I would use 10 completely different waveforms on her because she needed something else at that time. And so I had no interest in making a device that could only offer one component. I wanted to be able to give people the power to truly heal the skin and make it look the way they want it to look.
Okay, and where did this passion for skincare come from?
I've always been so into skincare. And my sister did a project for the seventh grade where she took a bunch of nectarines and she got all kinds of lotions. And for 3 weeks, she lathered them all up in these different lotions, some really expensive, some drugstores, blah, blah, blah. And I'm watching these nectarines decay, and one looks perfect. Lubriderm.
Oh, really?
And I thought, this is real,
Yeah.
like it makes a difference.
Powerful effect.
Yeah, you can actually, and I was, I don't know, in the eighth grade at that point. But then as I got older and you see the studies of twins, some who really take care of themselves, others who don't, you absolutely can slow the clock down and make your skin as healthy as possible. That's really what it's all about. If your skin is healthy, then it's going to look great, feel great, and it's the largest organ of the body, so don't you want it to be healthy?
Yeah. So for me, science was 100% not my favourite subject at school. I think for me personally and for people at home watching, it would be really great to hear from you in the most basic way how the science works.
I can't describe it without explaining that it does stimulate something called ATP in the body. And ATP, simply put, it's nicknamed the molecular currency of the body. So when you want to make more collagen, when you want to make more elastin, you're eating all this great food. Well, to convert that into collagen and elastin in your skin, you have to use up ATP. And there is no doubt that low levels of microcurrent and nanocurrent spike that ATP.
How does it sort of interact with the skin, if that's the right term?
It increases your ATP production dramatically, and then you go and make more collagen, elastin, and the cells start to do what they're supposed to do, pushing waste out, bringing nutrients in, and then things get better.
So I understand what you're saying about ATP, but I guess my main thing, and I don't know if it's the same for people watching, is how does the ZIIP then work to sculpt and lift the face when you use it?
What's happening is every time you roll over the lymph nodes, and they're all along the side of the face, down the neck, under the jawline, here, every time you roll over those lymph nodes, you're pumping them however many times the frequency is. And I like to work between 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. I like to work in that range. The human body likes that. So every time I roll over that lymph node, it's getting pumped that many times per second. And the lymphatic system doesn't have a pump. It's not like the vascular system where there's a heart pushing the blood through the body. The only way lymphatic fluid, which is 70% of the human body, the only way it moves is when you move it. When you exercise, when you manually move it, and so much of it gets trapped in the middle of the face, and then it calcifies over time, and you'll just see people with jowls, lots of weight under here, really baggy eyes. the nasal labial folds, you'll see those shadow, that's fluid that needs to be moved out to those larger lymph nodes so that it can drain. So that's happening immediately while you're doing that treatment. Number two, you're also stimulating the muscle, and you're stimulating the attachment of the muscle to the bone. And so obviously you're going to get that lift.
That's definitely one of the things I love about the whole process of using my ZIIP is that for me, it's at the end of the evening, I go up, I've cleaned my face, I'm relaxing, I'm in that mode. And even just to have you there as a little friendly face in the app to reassure me that, you know, whichever treatment I pick, it's doing what it's meant to do. And obviously the results kind of speak for themselves, as you say, but it's I find it a really nice, almost like meditative time.
Yes.
And I know that, I mean, does it matter when you use it? Evening, morning?
It really doesn't. Some people want to get up and they want it to be part of their morning routine. They want to do the lift, which is both micro and nano, cycling so fast you can't tell the difference, so you feel it the whole time. And literally they do it every single morning. It's 4 minutes, it's part of their day. And then there are a lot of people like yourself. I'm also usually a nighttime person. Unless I'm doing an event, then I'm definitely going to do it beforehand. But I like to wash my face, and I like to layer treatments. I figure I'm already putting the gel on. I've already put my hair back. I've already, I put on my favorite Netflix show, and then I'll do 20 minutes and like really get into it. I'll do the things that I need in the beginning, and then I always finish with Founder's Favorite, which is all nanocurrent. And you honestly cannot mess that one up. You don't have to pay attention to the video. You can just cruise around. And then when you hear the beep, 5 minutes is over, go to the other side, cruise around, beep, beep, it's over. Wash your face, put your products on, go to sleep. And you'll just love the way you look when you wake up.
I find it so amazing that this little device treats so many different skincare concerns at once. Someone might have problem skin. For someone else, it might be they want to look a bit more glowy or tighter. How does one device do it all?
It really comes down to the app. So what's happening is when you turn your device on, it's always going to do the lift treatment, which is the 4-minute treatment. It's going to give you a lift, and there are going to be other effects that come along with that. And I'll kind of describe that a little bit later. But with the app, you can go on and choose a treatment like Problem Solver that's going to suppress bacteria. And when you hit start treatment, it wipes the lift off your device, and now Problem Solver's on the device. So the circuit board is built so that only one treatment can be on there at a time. And that's how it can be so compact, because we have this big cloud, so to speak, with all of the treatments. And through the app, you choose the outcome that you want, load it onto your device, and now it's there until you finish the treatment, and then it goes back to the default treatment. So you can really choose what it is you need at this point.
For me, the way you described it as kind of the technology wipes each time you load a new treatment. I think for me, that's what I kind of couldn't get my head around, that I was like, are they all loaded? Is it all doing the same thing? So now that really makes sense to me. So thank you.
Because a lot of devices then came out with an app, and all it would do is it would switch up the time frame and the intervals, but nothing was changing with the waveform. Or maybe you could make it a little bit stronger or a little bit lighter. And a lot of times when they would make it a little bit stronger, they would crest over that 500 microamp, and then you start to deplete the fat, which people are terrified about right now. This is the biggest concern for at-home skincare devices. Will it deplete the fat pads in my skin? Because nobody wants that.
That I wanted to ask was around age and how it differs throughout the decades, I suppose. So are you better off kind of buying it early and just keeping that consistency, or, is it too late to get it when you're older, and, is it going to still be as effective? What's your view?
It's never too late. Some of my most beautiful clients are in their 80s or late 70s, early 90s, and their skin just has this otherworldly look about it. Now, on the flip side, it's excellent if you can start early. If you start early and you keep it there consistently, if you think about it, as that when that damage would start to happen because the ATP is falling off and you're just not, your skin's not going to be as taut, it's not going to be as pillowy. Well, if you're beating that to the punch by giving yourself the ATP so that you can make those things, it's not going to drop off like it would.
Yeah. Like a savings account. Keep
Yes.
depositing.
That's
and
what I say.
you'll reap the
This
rewards.
is my skin's life insurance policy. And even yesterday, I left the gel somewhere without the device, and I was freaking out this morning because I knew we would be doing this, because it empowers me and it also makes me feel confident.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like I can walk into a room and hold my head high. And so many people have said that to me. One of the coolest things that somebody wrote in, it was a husband, and he said, "To the woman who talks to my wife in the bathroom every night,
Yeah.
I just want to thank you because you've really affected our marriage in a positive way. My wife feels so much more confident. Her skin looks beautiful. I think she's beautiful, but she now feels beautiful, and it's affected our relationship in such a positive way. And I just want to say thank you so much."
Oh, that's lovely.
I mean, like, is there anything better than that?
So we know now that each treatment is loaded specifically for the skin concern it's for. But can we talk through maybe firstly people with problem skin like acne or blemishes? What's the science behind how it's affecting that concern?
So, blemishes in particular, they put off a positive electrical charge. And so I decided I'm going to try a low intensity negative waveform and see what happens. And sure enough, that negative waveform is going to attract, it's going to seek out the positive, and it suppresses it. The second you feel it coming on, if it's a giant cyst, the second you feel it, get it on there, because it'll dissolve and it won't ever come to the top.
And is it painful? So, for example, if you've got quite, if the blemishes are very to the top of the surface of the skin and you're using it, I don't know whether is it actually quite painful?
For all of those people out there that love to feel it, to know it's working, this is the one for you, because you will circle over skin that has no bacteria whatsoever. You'll feel nothing.
Yeah.
Then you'll roll over an area that's broken out, and within seconds, it feels like a tiny little needle right in the center of it, almost like you're getting an extraction, or almost like you're extracting it yourself. And that's why I have to throttle people in the time. It used to be an 8-minute treatment. I had to cut it to 4 because people went nuts. They would do it like 2 or 3 times in a row. They would do it every single day of the week. And that's not how it's meant to be done. I like people to do it no more than 3 times a week. I like days in between. And the only time I say you can do it 2 or 3 days in a row is if, let's say, you're starting your period and you know that you're going to have a crazy breakout. You can do boom, 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 1, 2, 3 days, and then you stop right there. And usually it puts it out.
We know that one of the most popular treatment plans is the glass skin. It gives that beautiful, brightening, glowy, dewy effect. How does the science within the ZIIP work to create that effect?
So this is one of the perfect examples of how, when you stack the treatments, magic can happen. So what a treatment plan is, you go to the bottom of the screen, you hit plans, and several will pop up. You pick glass skin and it'll say, okay, day 1, you're going to do this first and this second. And it'll key you up. So you'll then click on it, and that first one will be right there. You'll hit start treatment. It'll sync onto the device. You'll do it. Now the second one will be right there ready to put on. Now, the next day you go and look and it'll say rest. Then day 3 comes along and it'll now give you 3 different things to do. And it makes it impossible for you to not stack and layer treatments in just the right order to get the outcome that I want you to have. So it's almost as if I'm able to see you every other day for a week, and I can absolutely give you glass skin in that time, no doubt about it.
So yeah, that makes more sense to me because rather than just being a treatment in and of itself, like problem solver, it's a plan. So it's like you say, stacking, it's eliminating, it's building, it's regenerating, it's doing all the things. And obviously, with your expertise, you know the outcomes because you've done them on people in your clinics.
Yes, because you want your pores tightened, you want your skin glowing, you don't want any blemishes, you want an even skin tone, you want all of these things. You don't just want one. And to get that, we want to do multiple treatments.
So actually one of the things I noticed when I use it in the evening is that when I'm pulling it along my jawline, I realized I must really clench in my
Feel
sleep.
little crunchies.
And it was almost like when it was over, it was like my whole jaw felt so relaxed and I had such a nice sleep. And to me, the penny dropped, feeling like, wow, this is like properly working.
That is so common. I'd say 9 out of 10 people have that, especially people who grind their teeth because there's so much tension. But really what it is that the cells are excreting waste and they're kind of trapped in the middle of the face. These lymph nodes aren't as big. The few that are in the middle of the face, the big ones are all on the outside perimeter, and then it comes down here and then moves out through the excretory system. So you want it, it's kind of like it has to go uphill and around, and that's hard to do. As we mentioned, there's no pump. And so then it just gets trapped there and it becomes, I liken it to a stagnant, dirty pond. And over time, it calcifies. And that's why you feel those little crunchy, like nodules. And as you move along, you'll notice you're breaking them up and you're bringing them over to this large lymph node right here. And then you'll literally flush it out.
So we're coming to the end of our chat. I've really enjoyed it. I personally have learned so much. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Any other bits of information you feel like you need to share?
No, I would just like to thank you for asking all these great questions. And I hope that to everyone out there listening, that they cleared some things up for you and that you will give ZIIP a try. Or if you already have a ZIIP, that you learned something new.
And if you've got any questions, you can just pop them in the comments below and we'll try work together to get through them and get back to you.
Absolutely.